Hey folks, this is Matt Chat and this is my plywood canoe building adventure. It was supposed to be a cheap 2-week project, but instead it took a couple of months. I ended up building 2 canoes, built a canoe carrying dolly, a boat rack for my truck, and a hanging system for canoe storage. I made tons of mistakes and probably would have given up if it weren't for the money I had already spent. It became an amazing adventure, all for a canoe I wasn't sure I was going to use. Good morning. Well, I've been working at the boat for a day now. It's been very hot, so I have to say I haven't I've been working in the afternoons as much because the sweating just gets unbearable. Anyways, what I've been doing is I've been working on the top layer of the gunnels. I've installed the triangles on the ends, as you've seen before. I wasn't happy with that, so I decided to add a piece of wood at the end. As you can see, I just placed it over the end. This was a butt joint here, and I don't like showing that. I thought it would be better just to have some wood going across, and I figured I may as well add a piece of hardwood. Oak was my choice here. That's what I had. I found a piece of oak. I wanted something darker that would leave a line at the end here, and that's what this is going to do. And I had to install it before I installed my gunnel top because I wanted to hide the edge of that. And also, when I glued this on to hold it there, I tacked it in with a nail, which I hid underneath here. So that's all dried now, and this is the first gunnel I did, or the top of the gunnels. As you can see, the problem here is that when I made this, or the plans to do this, I never anticipated that the width of the wood would be so wide I couldn't turn it. And as you can see, the canoe has quite the curve. So in order to follow that curve, the only way to do it was to stretch my piece from end to end and cover both sides, both ends, and then add an extra piece to fill in the gaps, essentially. So that's what I did here. Now, of course, this is way wider than I want, and I have to thin it out somehow. So my plan is to use a router bit. So this is the router bit that I found. Now it's a dual purpose router bit, and it has a shank here that will roll on the wood underneath, and the cutting part is right here. So if I get this placed properly in my router, when I come in, this will dig in through this wood, but this piece will stop it at the edge of the gunnel, and then I'll go along, and I should have a fairly smooth edge left from that. So that's my plan. I'm going to try this. Now I already know that I'm not going to be able to do the ends because the router it's got a round base, and it's going to come to here, and I won't be able to do the end. So the end piece I'm going to have to cut by hand, and so I'll have to figure out how to do that. Anyway, so on to this routering. I want to see what it looks like. We've only done a quarter of the canoe like this, and it's experimentational, I guess. And of course, I only planned for having one piece on each side, so I cut 2 spare, so I made 6, and of course I need 8. So I'm going to have to get back to some cutting and make 2 more of these strips. Because that's the other story. These strips here, they were supposed to come from my 2x4, but I realized the 2x4 wasn't wide enough. So I went out and found a 2x8 that I cut sideways at 2 inches. Of course, now that 2 inches is useless. It's pointless because I can't use it the way I wanted. So I could almost have used that stuff. It would have just as done. And that's probably where I'm going to get from the 2x4. It's probably where I'm going to get the supply for making the last piece of the gunnel. Anyways, on we go. I'm going to router this, and we'll see how that looks. So after I've routed and sanded the piece, I'm fairly satisfied with the look. It's a bit rough cutting. The bit tends to snag on stuff and get stuck, tends to burn the edges, but essentially I'm pretty happy with the results and I'm going to go with that. So on to the other three. Once I've got my stick in position, I just come in here and drop something straight over it and draw a line, and that gives me my cut line so that I can get the right angle on the piece of wood. While I'm waiting for the glue to dry on the gunnels, I'm going to work on my dolly here. It's essentially finished construction anyways, but I was missing some of these clamps. So I figured I'd go out and buy some. So that's what I did. I got myself 4 new clamps. And I bought some duct tape. So while I already have some duct tape, I wanted to get some black duct tape, but also good adhesive duct tape, so that when I put on, well, its purpose is I'm going to put on my ABS pipe like this, and then I'm going to wrap some foam on this and then cover it up with some duct tape. So it's going to become a little foam pad. And I thought I could use the duct tape I had here, but I just didn't really want to put it if it's the orange duct tape. I didn't really want to put orange on it. Not very nice. Anyways, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to install this with the clamps, and then get on with putting the foam on and the duct tape. I'm not sure how I'm going to cut this. I think I'm going to roll it up tight and try to cut it with the bandsaw, because I only need a certain length. I only want it from maybe the end here to right here. I don't need it to go right over the middle. So let's figure that out. Not necessarily recommended, but I'm going to give it a shot, see if it works. Alright, here I am, duct tape in hand. Let's give it a shot. See if we'll be able to do this. It's thicker tape, it feels thick. I don't like playing around like that. Sticks to the foam. Alright, so here we go. That's going to be it for this part of my canoe building adventures. I want to thank you for joining in, and I want to remind you not to forget to subscribe to my channel. Hopefully we'll find a lot of progress in the next episode. See you soon.